Final debate night, 10/19/2016. My name is David Aaron Grigg, Airhead Boone, write-in Grigg 2016, independent candidate for President of the United States. I have received that I am found unfit by county administrators to accompany my son to the zoo, and that is just the forefront of what Clinton plans to do with anybody who has allegations made toward them and accusations made toward them who try to expedite it through the court system for other purposes, such as having to deal with social services who are holding their child as ransom. So we have to take care of expediting assault allegations that cannot be dropped by a male on a female. A female cannot drop without the state picking it up. And a prayer for judgment is not guilty, but now the county seems to think that it has a discretion to treat me like a felon. I am not a felon. I have no felonies. Period. Everything up to that allegation is, they said that after 6 months in the interim, if no further occurrence, well, because of their involvement, it took me a whole nother year and a half to expedite her out the door safely. It was close. Very close. The record shows the tendencies that explain how transparently reserved I am. Okay, anybody tell you? I do not want to go to toe-to-toe unless I absolutely have to. I've taken a lot of hits to avoid having to go all out toe-to-toe. I've fled to avoid having felonies. Multiple occasions I have avoided on intentionally getting felonies. It was hard. Everybody in every outlet of society that I was raised in, it was very hard, because first off, you get an allegation. They take your child. They tell you got to jump through these hoops real quick or you're not going to get your child back. You want your child back. You want to raise your child in safety. Having an argument going down the road and throwing papers and all that, alright. But within the first month we had that grievance worked out between ourselves, but we were still jumping through hoops like mad because the child was displaced. By the time we got the child back into related families' hands, he was already dehydrated and having problems passing because he probably hadn't had enough to eat. I mean, it took like two days or something to get him to take a dump. It was bad. It was bad, and it is bad. Remember, you cannot make up a meal, and we got thousands and hundreds of millions of people across the seas and all around the world starving for abundance that the corporations aren't allowing them to have. They don't have anything. They don't have what they need. We're expected to grow. We're all becoming obsolete to each other because of technologies and the ability to do without relying on other people. But they got to find a sanitized way to deal with everybody. I'd say, I don't know. But anyhow, some people seem to think we can go to war and survive. We are one atmosphere here we need to try to be harmonious instead of everybody kicking their bucket of damn, I don't know what they've buried in these mountains. I know the state won't dig up what's pointed out to them. I don't have the money to dig up the old cars in the surrounding counties, but I'm sure there's batteries of lead acid and God knows what else in every valley of the headwaters of the eastern coast of the United States that needs to be sought out and cleaned and removed. Okay. We need to do these jobs. The common sense, not derelict of duty jobs, but the common sense, not to create jobs and tax people to death so we'll have jobs and they'll have to go out here and suffer to the daily commute to facilitate the taxes. Some people would rather just stay home, raise some food. Last year I had a nice garden. This year I don't have a good garden. I got weeds. I worked. But the offset in transportation leaves me in a deficit. Bad deficit. Okay. Going out here and maintaining car insurance, which is a government mandate. Okay. And just to go back and forth to work. I can replace that and put that on the same tax as sales tax that is on tires while we get off of fossil fuels. So anyhow, Clinton is threatening to make everybody who has an assault allegation that gets a prayer for judgment a felon, like the discretion of this county has been. I'm waiting for the letter in the mail telling me what he told me on the phone the other day is because I had a prayer for judgment. I had a prayer for judgment, so I was unfit to accompany my child to the Asheville Zoo as part of the school trip. I would have rather had a clearance than have to be a lurking parent in the shadows of a trip, because I am not going to be an hour and a half away from my child up here on the mountain while he goes down below, subject to flooding, etc., etc., poisonous snakes, idiots. At least after they get around here a little bit driving, they got some sense, but no. I've lost a lot to the roads. They took my house out to make a 4-lane that profits millions of people and leaves me in a deficit. There should have been a continuous, first off, eminent domain. If they come in, they take in eminent domain, you can fight it. But anyhow, they take eminent domain, they give you the tax value of your property. Then they force you to leave, they burn your house down, they bulldoze your whole community where all the livestock and the agricultural existed. I'm having a problem. What is it they call it? When one person goes and does a bunch of work in the wilderness of the elements and becomes self-sustaining, or does work and everybody else takes their work. What is that called? They take it faster than you can incur interest with it. That's for sure. What is it called? Where you do labor and development of land is called. Development of land is called. somebody put their work and their hard-earned effort into it, and then Trump or Clinton comes along and uses eminent domain to take it. We're going to have to stop that, because why would somebody invest in a home, invest in a business, if it can be bulldozed for a group of concerned government employees' votes? I don't quite understand that, because we're getting bored with the election. The election process is bull. We can't vote or submit any legislation. We can't deny our representation to that legislation. Why cannot we delegate our representation to the representatives that's standing firm with our desires? We got representatives from all 50 states up there. Why can we not delegate our consensus to that representative? I got so many things I want to do with the government, and it's got to be done. And who are you going to trust? We got to get the money out of there. We don't need to worry about what the other countries are doing. They can rattle their batons. They are done. If I'm elected, I will just straight work on exploration, and we will leave them to admire us once again and strive to go where we have gone. We are not going to lead from behind. We need a green device to put rigid material into space, to build foundries and factories on the moon ice caps and Mars ice caps, and not in 30 years when they say we're going to be old and dead. I want it like last year. I want the green energy rail gun spinning catapult megastrophic machine that is going to help us build even bigger machines in space. We don't have to go to space. We love playing video games, along with a lot of other things we love to do. Why not make it as a hobby? Why not motivate people instead of this crap we have, where the media jerks our attention from one crisis to another crisis and doesn't focus us? And that is only in this country. The other countries' news organizations stay to the plot of the evolution of the globe, not just what the Republicans and the Democrats want their constituents to dance to, because our asses are being danced over a cliff because we are the expendable masses. They think we are plagues. We are the third world trash because we have been spoiled. But no, we are the hard-working foundation of stability all around the globe. With our Second Amendment, we keep security from one side of this globe to the other. We reinforce our armed forces so they have time to reinforce your armed forces if needed. Now we need to streamline this and become relevant again, or we might as well just admit after this election, use Trump or Clinton or them other two, Johnson and that lady, and be all uptight all the time and worried about the threat of nuclear war one way or the other. The worst thing about me is I don't even know if I'd retaliate if they was to do me the favor. But, you know, they'd have to live with the consequences, wouldn't they? We got to stop allowing these countries. I mean, we got to stop turning the other cheek when these other countries are blowing up nuclear war heads. Like the one in the Indian Ocean, didn't hear nothing about that. Then all of a sudden there's an earthquake in Japan that poisons this whole country to an extent. But anyhow, so what? We need to push forward. We need to show that we are willing to come together with our intellectual technology, our patent laws, our taxation, our insurances, and innovate our way to the highest platform of advancements in human evolution, like we were enabled to be by all the great work of everybody in the past. We need to just get really truly motivated. Start one sales tax that is very easily to delegate the money to the institution of exploration. There's ways to get rigid material up there. If you got to glide it up there, whatever, you got to stop using all these rockets. Sweating right now. You got to allow us to get off the grid. You got to ban all these little tiny governments all over the country from being able to tax our personal assets, to neglect our needs. I need the Apple Cart, whether I got to pay when I get on it or not. I need the Apple Cart going from every fire department to fire department. I need a sheriff's deputy riding shotgun in that Apple Cart, in that bus. I'm sorry, we got the Apple Cart. You guys, or the towns have the Apple Cart here. But we need buses from fire department on a minimum of 2-hour rotation, minimum of 5 days a week, 5.5 days a week. I don't know. People got to go places. They got to get stuff. Fevers don't break in 2 days. It's a long weekend and it could hurt. We need the buses. We need the deputies. Deputies are there 24/7. So are the buses. I'm sorry. Not no daily, weekly stuff. Every day the world is alive. And we need to offset carbon footprint. And if we're riding the buses, which is not too bad, I like to walk because, sometimes they're too packed. But the next bus, but when I get pooped out, I want to ride home. That's cool. I walked a lot. Yeah, I didn't have to, I guess. But I like it. This kid's about ready to get ready on the go. Anyhow, aspiration as a personal individual is to obtain the meal ticket so I can take off on my 2 feet and go cross country, job hopping, knowing that I get a dividend once a day, enough to keep my stomach from eating itself. Because I participate with the sales tax system, and there are kids that parents don't delegate funds right, and leaves gaps in their nutrition, leaves gaps in their education, leaves gaps in their hygiene, leaves gaps in their ability to communicate and cohabitate with our offspring. It's going to be a long one here tonight, ladies and gentlemen, because this is the last presidential debate of 2016. The fate of the world is going to depend on us. And I have a plan. It's a very solid plan. It's an important plan that we have one sales tax, that is the one safe trade, transit, insurance, commerce, sales tax, appropriation, accountability, infrastructure, investment, incentive, prepaid, dividend-bearing system for the Independent Citizens Reinforcement Act. And so we can be sovereign in our personal possessions and be able to work towards self-sustaining homesteads like the model we'll need for space exploration. And then we need the preserve the town, county, state, and federal, the preservation of the town, county, state, and federal government act, because they're going to get shifted worse than everybody, and they need to be shifted because they didn't even take a little hit on '08 like everybody else who was on the upswing. And we need to start purchasing all these technologies with our sales tax and bring it into the public domain so we can treat communicable ailments, which relate to all of us, and we can come together with communal investments, actually take money from this generation, put in a pile and push it forward so we can jump in it in 30 years and rest our asses. We got to start getting tangible items to the citizens' hands for civil participation. I don't know if I don't think they give you a golden cookie when you get out of high school or college. And college is only teaching you what the intellectual technology and patent laws make you pay for. So we got to buy them back so college can be as cheap as the instructor's salary instead of exasperated by the institution kind of thing. You know, it is. It's too high. Intellectual technology laws enforced by the government, along with insurance mandates enforced on the government, and private property taxes enforced by the government, and renegade are the problem. But we cannot get that from our representatives. You talk like that to the representatives, and they'll block you off their social media platform. They'll look for any excuse. A crash phone call. Click. Oh, yeah, Mr. Green, oh, he's so disgruntled. Better not even let him go to the zoo. Let's interrogate him a little while. All this they think. And then my state representative. When you win the seat of the representative, you are obligated to take the citizens who actually take the time to call you and make an appointment, grievance, to the caucuses, right? To be simply read by each member and get the up or the down. Most things can be in small. I mean, we don't have to have big old written up numbered law that is felonious in nature and felonious by law, because you can't have a foreign language which it hadn't been taught to the constituents dictating law. We are, as Kennedy was saying, averse to secret societies, secret codes, and secret meetings like the current law. Like Martin Luther King says, watch what you say, Greg, you might get shot. But anywho, we can get deleted. The UN is very important. Right now, the UN is forming a government. They're waiting. Egypt is waiting to give a referendum of a consent of the referendum of the agreement for future investment collaboration with the other 5 announced BRIC organizations. And the BRIC organizations are coming together to build an interstate system, which is very tangible to everybody. This drama with Russia, which are supposed to be in on the BRICS, to create tension between us and Russia, to establish a fall guy for aggression or a successful attack on the U.S., is concerning. And the Filipino guy is just spooky. But I think he just wants good trade, good food, and hopefully we can come to an agreement on the libations of desire, liberty. Right? And now we're going to Sin City tonight to talk to the Sin Queen and the Sin King. I don't know. I mean, everybody's got a role. If they want to know their role, we'll let them proceed. If we don't know our role, we normally get tripped up. These guys, Trump just destroyed the Republican caucus, or whatever, the body of the Republicans, destroying all their credibility according to the modern day media. We need to establish a new media outlets, new commentators, new channels, state-sponsored, county-sponsored host. Every state should have to give their own interpretation offered to the general public for review on social media platforms. But nobody wants to hear that because that's dry, boring, with details of the margins where we can screw everybody if we do not have a clear view, like Mr. Grigg has laid out in his multiple rants. But only having YouTube and spotty conductivity on Facebook and Twitter being like 80% of you guys and gals inadequate or out, whatever. I don't know. We got to get a little bit better together if we want to all eat steak and lobster. We all got to come back together if we want our neighbors to eat. And I do. I've been the starving neighbor. Sucks. Just a waste away. It is painful. And then imagine not having water to boot. And did you know in frigid temperatures we are the happiest? And these Arabs over here are all pissed off, around killing everybody and getting shot up because they aren't allowed to leave. I'm going to say I do not support any of these governments. You're going to know that we all deserve the right to defend ourselves. And I don't care where you're at on the planet, if you ain't got a bowl of rice and some meat, somebody is breaking the law of the United States government to not deny any individual citizen, any individual person, the pursuit of happiness, God-given inalienable rights, blah, 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 blah. Bye. I don't know, I can't do live and make a recording for YouTube, just long recording for YouTube. What would I do? How would I do it? Well, I'd try to be a little bit more thoughtful about the resources, because where I've seen the offset of the development wasting the resources. I mean, you gotta think about it. Back in the day, beavers made dams, ponds, stands, ponds, fish. Now we have straight little creeks that just zoom right by them. Water falls down, it doesn't go through any brush or anything to get cleansed. And We're not restoring that. We're not developing a model of that. I live in the tip of that, and I'm doing it here in my spot, but not everybody's doing it. I'm glad I got a small example. I had an opportunity to have large machinery and do a real exquisite example, but I keep getting my opportunities taken away deliberately. So I'm here ranting and raving. They whip you, so you're here ranting and raving. I'm not here ranting and raving because you'll leave me alone. I'm here ranting and raving because you try to take every single thing, like them worms on that game, just snap people out. And that's the only way you know to feel like it's like if I can buy something that's used to farm to produce food and self-sustainability, like it's the model we need to go to space and back, because if we go to space, we ain't coming back paying property tax on our vehicles. You got that? You produce it, you sell it to me, I'm gonna go fly it. My meteor might not come back, and my meteor comes back, it's still my meteor. Anywho. Flying meteors. Centrifugal force in space. We can do this. Like I said, we got to come together. I'm not going to cover it all. I just want you to know that the real determination is going to be by what we write on our ballots this election cycle. I'm not going to delegate but a few seats of representation. I'm only going to delegate my representation to be seen, but I was thinking maybe supporting the governor, and that'd be about it. He's the only one that's offered a retroactive counter to the overstep of the judiciary last year. We could have had a retroactive measure to alleviate the whole symptom of the discussion in the controversy of filing taxes and getting married last year. It shouldn't have, anyhow, blah blah blah, it shouldn't have anything to do with sex, getting married. Marriage should not be a sexual contract. Marriage should be a living arrangement that can be terminated easy as a yearly lease for current tax codes. But these current tax codes are going anyhow. So why would they need to be married? Well, they ain't going anywhere yet, and we got to get rid of these tax codes. We need one sales tax on our commodity transactions. That way when we go to space, we own our shit, we come back, we don't owe you a bill. Matter of fact, our we're going to have to get cleaned up. Our cargo, which is not coming back to the planet. That's insanity. I keep hearing these people saying we're going to bring that cargo back to the planet. We're going to go out here Mars and start returning. No. We're not bringing any water back from Mars. We're not bringing one drop of liquid back from Mars. We're not bringing anything back from outer space that is fluid based. Period. Steel. We can distill the water. That's good. But we're not going to bring any possibility of a living organism from any celestial body that does not occur here organically. We're going to listen to the naysayers of the history books. Take heed. But we are always going to aspire to endeavor for progress of sustainability for all life forces. I'm sure we eat, and we got to keep our flocks up, but we can't eat on us on ourselves, even if it's in a metaphorical way. We gotta stop it. We gotta motivate by exploration. Once you get on your homestead, you're gonna have to hump it, or you're gonna just squander your resources. We all know that. I don't know, I've said it so many times, I don't even know if I'm going to get aired. I don't even know if I get printed. I don't even know if I'll be played. All I do know is that this is the most important election of our lifetime, and if you vote and do not use the social media platforms to represent yourself, you are going to sell yourself out. Well, we ain't got much time. I want to watch it. You want to watch it. We're all going to watch it. You're not even going to see this video, but I'm going to paste it so you can watch it later. I don't know. Let's try to make a clear resolution that is sustainable, that powders the borders, that adds securities with circumferences of accountability. I mean, we gotta have some zone as you're traveling through. You sweep your debit card and you register as you move along. That's fine as you're passing through a ghost trail, but it's not going to be implanted in us, and all we gotta do is replace hard currency. I mean, that's already happened pretty much, I guess. I don't know. We got to have some dollars, though. Sales tax system. Invest in the local utilities first.